thinking this. David's thinking about doing not something for himself, but something for God. Can I just tell you that carnal people only think about doing stuff that satisfies them? Spiritual people think about doing things that satisfy God, that please God, that honor God, that celebrate his name, delight in his name. And that's exactly what David does. And so now as he shares this, we're here, we're in his house. He's reflecting on that. He calls in Nathan. And I just want you to go to Israel with me really quick. I want to show you a video. Right here is his palace. And we've got the remains of that today. And in your lifetime, in 2005, there was a great discovery. We didn't know where his palace was. Skeptics of the Bible said, oh, see, you can't believe the Bible. If there was this grand palace, oh, we'd know where it is. Friends, we know where it is. You know where it is? Right underneath the gift shop. They built a gift shop right over top the palace. They didn't know it, but in 2005, they discovered it. Watch this.
But in order to build a grand and luxurious palace, the highest quality materials were needed as well as skilled artisans. The Bible tells us that David's ally Hiram, king of Tyre, provided him with everything he needed, including materials and skilled workers. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons. And they built David a house. The cedar house that was constructed by David was likely the most impressive building in Jerusalem. It's a pity that it was destroyed by the Babylonians and nothing remains of this beautiful structure. Or perhaps something does remain. The story begins back in 2005 when archaeologist Dr. Eilat Mazar excavates at the summit of the city of David and uncovers the foundation of a building from the 10th century, the era of David. Gradually, the foundations of an immense building were uncovered in this very spot. This wall, for instance, measured around 30 meters long, and very close by, she uncovered a stone capitol, which was undoubtedly part of a magnificent palace. In-depth analysis of the findings and various clues in the Bible as to the location of the palace led Mazar to one clear conclusion. I have found King David's palace in Jerusalem, Mazar rejoiced, and the world was amazed.
Mazar came into the city of David and comes into the gift shop and starts telling them, I have found David's palace. And they're like, where? Where is it? Right underneath the shop. And then she points out that capital. Remember that capital that he showed there in the video clip? And they said, well, that's Phoenician. What does that have to do with anything? And she says this, if you knew the Bible like I knew the Bible, then you wouldn't even ask that question. And she opens to that passage in chapter 5 and says the Phoenicians are the ones that come and build David's temple. That's why it's there. And so I want to affirm to you, again, the Bible is true, but you remember the outside is stone, but the inside is filled with cedar. Now, how many of you got your cedar pieces? You need to keep that with you for the next couple of weeks. And so David's inside the house, he's smelling the cedar, and he's asking the question there about what great things he can do for God. Smell the cedar, ask the question, what's in your heart for God? So he's asking that question. Why isn't that God's going to not let him build that temple? And here's the reason why. As you see the broader context of God saying no to David, you shall not build a house for my name. Why? Because you are a man of war and have shed blood. Now this is important. I'm going to tell you why. David had something great in his heart. He'd smelled the cedar. He asked the question, what can I do great for God? I'm going to build a temple. Why can't I do something that's in my heart? Because it wasn't God's calling for his life. What was David's calling in his life? He was a warrior. And what is he going to end up doing from his teen years? I mean, think about it. When we first see David and he's anointed as king, the very next chapter, in chapter 7 of 1 Samuel, or 17 of Samuel, he's going out to fight who? Goliath. Remember? How many of you like that story, right? And so from his youth, he's fighting those who are coming into Israel, carrying off their women and their children, carrying off the supplies that they need to live, and looting Israel, and he's protecting Israel. And then he's leading Saul's armies. Remember that? And then he's running from Saul, and even as he's running from King Saul, you remember he's got his men, and they're going around, and they're still getting the Philistines. It's amazing. And now he's king, And now he wants to do something, like build his temple. And he says, man, that's in your heart. That's fantastic. But that really isn't your purpose, David. I love you because you have it in your heart. But your purpose is to build the security for the nation of Israel. So when we read in chapter 8, coming up in the weeks ahead, we're going to find, you know what he's doing? Okay, I'm a man of war. My job is to create the security of the nation. In other words, secure the border so that way the descendants after me can build this temple for God. He's going to gather gold. He's going to get cedar. He's going to get silver. He's going to get all the things that are necessary and stage it. But his number one and most important job was securing the border of Israel. Listen, nations have to have secure borders in order to prosper internally. And so that's God's mission for him. I don't know what God's mission is for you. I mean, quite honestly, there are like really great things that I would love to do for God. Like I would love to sing. I just want you to know, I would love to sing. I don't have any rhythm. I'm tone deaf. Luke looks at me and just shakes his head, smiles, and says, mm-mm. I have it in my heart to do that, but I have to just watch and enjoy others who sing and celebrate. And I just kind of sit there and watch. It's one of the great things I can't wait to get to heaven for. God's given me a different calling, different purpose. And so, listen, when God creates you to fulfill something in your generation, you do it for his glory, and you do it well. That's exactly what David did. And here's something really important about this by way of principle. When God says no to one thing, no, you can't build the temple, he says yes to another thing. Go secure the borders of this nation so that the descendants after you can build that temple.